Welcome. Welcome, guys. So, we are going to go ahead and get started because we are talking about four different spells that can bind a chosen one to trauma. And these are the types of spells that are used by the spiritual narcissist in your family, the family narcissist. And well, you can use a poop spell. Yeah, yeah. They can use those types of spells. Brain dead diver, welcome. I really appreciate all of you. So when people are using these types of spells, then they want to make sure that you're, incapacitated in life. That you're always going to be validated by them. That you're always going to need them. Hi, Channel Donasis. I'm sorry, Channel Onasis. Welcome, welcome, guys. Please hit the like button. So, these are the different spells that we have. Okay, I'm glad that you showed up today. I'm glad you support us. You know, um, these are the spells that we have. The four different types of spells that spiritual narcissists and family narcissists will use against chosen ones. They will use incest. Incest. They will, attack the females or males in some cases with incest, molestation, with sexual assault. Those types of abuse in the family line is meant to bind the chosen ones into a trauma bond. It is a spell that is sent out. It's a spell that is used to attack the mind of the person, to attack the internal organs of the person, the womb, the seed. Those people who have been attacked in this way usually will have anxiety. They will have a lot of stress on them throughout life. And this is also going to cause health problems in that person. This is meant to create a trauma bond with the person, a soul tie, a negative soul tie, so that the person is never able to break away from the family. This is what I'm talking about. Channel Onassis, this is what I'm talking about. People do not understand that when people are attacked in their family, that is a spell, that is a curse, and many times it turns into a curse. So we want to be able to break this type of trauma bond. We want to break this type of soul tie. We want to break the manipulation where the family has been sweeping that kind of attack, that kind of malevolent act upon the chosen ones, upon the children in the family. They sweep that under the rug. We want to be able to expose those persons. And this, in many times, the person is under attack because for many years they cannot talk about these types of things. This is what creates the trauma bond. This is what creates those uncles that keep coming around. Okay, this is what creates those women that keep allowing these people to assault their children, especially for those who are addicts. We want to make sure that we understand that in many times the mindset of the persons, the mindset of the mother who is allowing this type of attack, those mothers who want to hold card games, every weekend, who want to hold a juke joint in their homes and unable to protect their family. They do not have, the male in the house in order to have that protective authority. They're unable to be watchful, over their children because they're trying to provide, and the money outweighs their children. So we have to also look at those types of spells and curses that have sent out over our lives when these people are addicts, when they are addicted to money. And many narcissists are more addicted to money than the protective care of their children, the protective care of their family. Okay, and this type of negative energy must be cleansed. It must be cleansed out of the family line. It must be cleansed off of the persons that it happened to. And I have to give you this understanding because I've definitely been there in my family, with molestation in my family, where these types of people, the men and the women, they will have to be cleansed out of your line, because this type of pattern, this type of black magic that you have been trauma bonded to these types of individuals in your family, whether it was a brother, a cousin, or uncle, you will have to cleanse them, because it will happen in your children's line if it's not cleansed. Well, I'm going to give you some ways that you can do that you can cleanse that. Chanel Onassis. I'm going to give that at probably towards the end of our video, but I wanted to give you these types of ways that I was able to cleanse these people out of my lineage, that attack, that trauma bond, that soul tie. I was able to recognize it, that, it had turned into a curse, because I understood that one of my parents had also been molested as a child. Okay, so this is why we want to be able to do the investigative work, so that these types of attacks on our lineage, on our mind, on our health, these types of attacks, they can be returned to sender, and everyone who knew about it, everyone who upheld it, was a part of that spell. That negative energy must be returned to sender. Okay, so there are certain people, certain women, who will orchestrate these types of attacks on other women, on their own daughters, because they are in competition with them. Okay, they will know that these people, these friends, these families, these neighbors are offenders, sex offenders, and they will allow them around their children, because they are preying on their own children. They want something to happen to them, because they are sending out this negative frequency. And I want you to always make sure that you're looking at these patterns and you're understanding what's going on in your family, in your life. Uh, I see Chanel Onassis. I see trauma. Well, this is what we are talking about when we're talking about those trauma bonds, especially for the males. They can be trauma bonded, where they don't respect the woman. That they think that, the woman, even if you're providing for them, they think that they're entitled to that, because they can go somewhere else. They can go to your mother's house, they can go to, their friend's house, and get better treatment than you. And in many cases, we have to make sure that we do the best that we can for our sons and daughters. But ultimately, you have to be able to let them make those mistakes. You have to let them, learn those aunts and those people for themselves, because when they get a certain age, then they are going to be rebellious, because they want to be like other people. They think that other people are smarter than their parents, for some reason. So this is why we have to start early with healing these types of attacks and trauma bonds, in our lives. So we want to also understand that another type of spell that will trauma bond chosen ones to their parents, to the spiritual narcissist, is, addictions, and the addictions of these types of relationships, in many cases. And this is why I just gave you one example, but let me give you another example with the addictions, where the parents will start using uh addictive substances, drugs, with the children. They will want them to be a part of that lifestyle so that they do not move forward in life, that, they cannot um, differentiate between right and wrong. They think that this is the right thing because my mother, let me do it. My father took me to the strip club. So this is the way that, I'm supposed to deal with my children. Okay. So I've been dealing with a lot of clients who have been going through this type of addiction, that their mother was on hard drugs and she put the daughter on hard drugs. The father was addicted to sex, and the sons are now addicted to sex. So these types of addictions, we have to be very careful with, and we have to make sure that we are cleansing these types of negative energies in order to remove the trauma bond and the soul tie. Usually the person who is implementing these types of black magic, these types of rituals in your life, they are the ones who are sending those negative frequencies. Those are the ones who do not want you to move forward in life. And many times it is our parents and people that we have known all of our lives. Okay. So we have these types of spells and curses that will go over into our lives if they are not broken. And there are many different kinds of spells that your parents or these spiritual narcissists will use these types of tactics in order to trauma bond you to them, to order to put you in competition either with family members or friends. In my family, they wanted to put you in competition with the friends. Oh, I treat my friend better than I treat my own daughter. So I have gone through that, with my own family. I treat my friends better than my sister. I've gone through that with my family, and there are different types of ways that you will have to defend yourselves from these people. Exactly, exactly. You will have to defend yourself from these people because you need to understand that they will allow these people to attack you because they have, trauma bonded these people to your energy. They have trauma bonded you with different types of attacks upon your life, and these people are helping them, in order to gain stock you, to run a smear campaign, and in order to trauma bond you to the family so that you will feel, low self-confidence, and be, enslaved to the family. You will be enslaved to that person. So even after, your parents have passed away, those people will come around and they will say narcissistic things to you. They will repeat those narcissistic things that those parents had said, in order to keep you in that low vibrational state, so that they can now control you and siphon the energy, when you were a child. So it turns into a curse. This is how it turns into a curse. And I just wanted to, make sure that I paint this vivid picture for you, that these are spells and curses that are being sent out over your life. Okay. So another one is assault. When you're seeing violence, when, there is, domestic violence, there's fighting in your house all the time. No one can communicate without raising their voice, without getting angry. You have the father, assaulting the mother assaulting the children. They hate one child because that one looks like a parent that they despise. They abuse this one child because this child looks like the parent that they despise, that has been abusing them in the relationship. So we have to be very careful of these types of trauma bonds that will bind chosen ones, to the trauma, to the family, that will enslave their minds, that will enslave their bodies, and will turn this into a generational curse if we are not catching this early on and making sure that we're seeing what we're seeing. It has usually been happening to the parents. The parents cannot relate. Your grandparents could not relate to your parents. They didn't know another way except for what the entity, the colonizers, had taught them, and they raised their children in that way of assault and violence, and letting them see different types of, acts going on in the family. And I'm going, since I was the outcast as a young person, as a child. Okay, I will help you, Chanel Onassis. I appreciate you, because it takes a big person to ask for, this type of help, because when you have depleted, all of your options, like I say, I was, the outcast. So, I had all three: the scapegoat, the black sheep, and the outcast. For many years, my parents, my mother shipped me off to her people, and my siblings did not know where I was. My cousins didn't know where I was, because I was hidden in a country with my mother's people. So a lot of my cousins, they don't know me. They don't know how to relate to me. And so they will, say something that my mother said, and then I will have to check them, because they don't know me. Okay. So we have to make sure that we're telling these people the truth, that, will, spew out the rhetoric of the narcissist parents, that, narcissist behavior that they have given to some of your family members as well. And I just wanted to give you that understanding. But in many cases, they have they enjoy this type of behavior. They enjoy the violent behavior. They enjoy siphoning that energy, bringing you into a low vibrational state. So this leads me, to my last point, and then we'll start talking about how to heal this type of negative energy that has been sent by your parents, that has been sent by your family narcissists. And they will not be accountable. They will not be held accountable when you tell them what you've done, what they've done to you, when you show them the evidence, when you tell them that, I told you that this person was hurting me. They will not be held accountable. They will not allow themselves, to take responsibility for what they allowed to happen to you, because, and let me make sure that you're understanding where I'm going with this, because you were supposed to be the family sacrifice. You were supposed to, lie down and let them step on you. You were never supposed to, wake up and tell them the truth about what they were doing, because that makes their mask slip. That lets them know, that other people know, that they have been lying, that they have, brought other people into that lie unknowingly or willingly. Okay. So a lot of these people are uncomfortable around you. They're uncomfortable around you because they know that you hold some kind of truth. A lot of the spiritual family narcissist has used black magic, has used different types of attacks because of this. They never wanted you to speak. They never wanted you to be able to tell them the truth. So they put a veil over your mind so that you would forget. They would use the veil of medication. They would use, lies. They would manipulate other people. They would try to get other people to tell you to never talk about certain subjects in front of your mother or your father, because it hurts their feelings. No, it makes their mask slip. Okay. It makes their mask slip, and other people understand that they have been a part of this. Your sisters and brothers will figure out that they have been a part of this, masquerade, in order to, attack the chosen ones and trauma bond and create a person that is enslaved to the family, eternally, forever. Okay. So they thought that that type of black magic was going to work. They thought the Santeria was going to work on you. And they thought that, keeping you silent and trying to veil you so that you would not be one day tell them the truth about what they had done to you in your childhood, in your adult life. And you have to be very bold in order to make sure that these people are held accountable. They will become violent when you are telling them the truth. Make sure that you're in a position to move away from these people, and that's the first thing that you want to do. And the second thing that you want to do is use some of the rituals, the spiritual healing rituals. The first thing that I have been giving people for last week and this week is to use the St. John's wort. I had one brother reach out to me, and he used the St. John's wort, and he said that he had been attacked. He had been molested by a neighbor, which was one of his family friends, and he had been having problems with his genitalia all of his life. He had been having problems, and so he was able to use the St. John's wort tea, the incense, and he ordered it. I had been working with him. He ordered it from Amazon, from my account. Okay, you can go in the description of this video and order any kind of spiritual needs that you may have in order to cleanse this type of negative energy where you have been trauma bonded to your family, to friends, to those people who are spiritual narcissists in your family. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're using the St. John's wort, because it acts as a purification and a cleanse. It gives you clarity about the situation, and we are asking God in order to strengthen us to move these types of bondages, these binding spells off of us. Okay, so that's the first thing that you want to do. You want to make sure that when you are praying to God, when you're praying, you want to be sincere. You want to be in a space where, you don't have these people around you who's going to interrupt your prayer. So these people, when you're meditating, these spiritual narcissists, when they know that you're coming against them and you're breaking these trauma bonds, these frequencies that they have sent throughout your life, these spells, these curses that they have sent to your children, and made the generational curses occur, those cycles, those patterns, then they're going to try to interrupt you. You should not take anything from them. Do not take anything from them. Once you start a cleansing ritual, do not take anything from them. If this is a generational curse, you're going to have to reach out to me, because the person is experienced. Okay, that's exactly, you said it after I said it, Miss Chanel Onassis. Uh, Many of these people are experienced with attacking you. They are attacking you, and so what I'm trying to let you know is that many of these people that's in your family, especially if you have been sexually assaulted, then they were warlocks as well. You have warlocks and witches. The person that did the attacking, the family member that attacked you in that way, they trauma bonded you in a malevolent way, a sexual way. But you also have the other parent that did not hold them accountable. So they are just as equally a part of that attack, that black magic that was sent upon you. And if this triggers you, I hope that you understand that if this is triggering you, you can come back another time and watch this video. But I have to give you the truth of these types of attacks that have attacked your mind, And so while I was at a very young age, I was able to use the cleanses, and one of the cleanses that I was able to use was the four thieves vinegar and the high John the Conquer. That will only work for a small amount of time, guys, because it's not a spiritual cleanse, but it will help you to, get that negative energy off of you. It will help you to sever those trauma bonds, those cords, but it will not stop those attacks up on your mind, the psychic attacks up on your mind. And a lot of people do not understand this when they are just using, individual cleanses. You have to have the ritual where you are connected, where you cleanse the internal, portion of you out, and you do an external cleanse in order to completely sever the tie. And so I have been working with people, men and women, who have been under attack in these ways, in order to stop those addictive behaviors, in order to stop the trauma bond. I had one guy that is a compulsive thief because his father and his mother had him stealing. And he would, as he got older, he would just go into any store, Family Dollar and convenience stores, and just, he was a kleptomaniac. He would just pick up things. Okay, so we have these understandings. Well, this is the thing is I had my father, Chanel Onassis, when I started to cover my body, when I started to cover, he asked me, was it cold outside? And my family, they're predominantly Christian, but on my father's side, they are a little bit more they're a little bit more accepting. But they, when you start putting on religious garbs, the narcissists do not like when you put on religious garbs. And so once I created this channel a year ago, then I decided to cover my whole entire face, because people that are narcissists, who are envious and jealous of you, they will also use attacks up on your beauty, because they are experienced witches, they are experienced warlocks. And many times you will not see a warlock, spewing the hate in his mind, in his heart, that is coming at you. You will not be able to see what they are doing, because they like to stay in the shadows. So we want to be able to cleanse this type of negative energy. And again, I want you to book your one-on-one sessions with me, so that we can cleanse this negative energy together. If you have a stubborn situation, reach out to me in the description below. You can look on some of my posts. There's telephone numbers, where I posted pictures, so that you can reach out to me. I'm building my website. You can also go to my website. My website is www.highoracle.com. Okay. And so you can reach out to me. You can also reach out to me and book your one-on-one sessions from my email, or you can call me. And I did not list my telephone number in there, but I will, if you reach out to me after this video, Chanel, on this channel. If you reach out, then I will give you my number, so that you can. Okay, I thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate you. And we got the ambulance, because we are, sending the ambulance to these people. We're cutting those cords. The ambulance is gonna have to go and pick up some of the meat wagon, going to them to pick them up, because they're not going to be able to withstand the trauma bond that they have created with you. We're cutting those cords. They're not going to be able to stand, because the spell that they've sent out to you has gotten old, and God has put someone in your life to go ahead and cut those cords that they had sent to your finances, to your health, to your mind all these years. A lot of the problems that you are having as men and women, the chosen ones, and this is what I have been dealing with my clients, that you're spiritually married to someone in your family. You're spiritually married to an entity in your family. That has to be cleansed, because that is what causes the trauma bonds. That is what causes the curses. And that is what causes the generational curses, not only with you, but with your children. Okay. So we have these understandings that we have to heal. I've healed a lot of people. I've healed myself from these types of attacks. I've forgiven my mother. I've forgiven my father. I've forgiven my family members because they know not what they do. So I hope that you're on your healing journey and you can also experience this type of relief from these types of attacks that have come from a narcissist family. And we can, go ahead and peel those layers back off of those curses. And it's going to be multiple curses that you find out that are on your body. You're going to have, feel this relief. So this is why you can go ahead and order from the Amazon. You can order from my account that's in my description, and I will work with you with what's on Amazon. But I also have my own vendor. You can order what I use for my clients. I use Amazon. They have a lot of different things like the Florida water that will be a big help to you, in fighting these types of demons. Uh, well, I thank you that you love me in the name of Jesus. But let's make sure that we put God as first, because Jesus was born. Jesus was born, and in Revelations 1:8, we have God that says He is the Alpha and Omega, and you cannot be the Alpha and Omega if you are born of a woman. So we have that understanding as well. And I always want to lead you to the right way. And you don't follow me, you follow God. Okay, the one that created everything. So the one that put me in your life and sent me to you. And I really appreciate all of your support. So I hope that you receive this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. You can book your one-on-one life coaching sessions. You can book your video chat sessions or your consultations, so that I can acclimate a gift to your situation from my personal vendors. Please make sure that you're reaching out to me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm here with you guys on, YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe again. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.